Welcome to the first module of the Anatomy and Physiology course, and this is associated with hair, nails and skin. Skin is one of the biggest organs around our body, and it is our first line of defence. So today we want you to be able to explain the structure, function, growth and repair of the skin, hair and nails, and we want to analyse the pathologies of the skin, nail and hair. So the skin is the outer covering of the body that protects it from the external damage and helps regulate body temperature. Here are parts of the skin. So if we look at the top, we've got the hair that protrudes from the skin. We've got the first layer, which is the epidermis. The second larger layer, the dermis, which has, as you can see, many more synapses, blood capillaries and veins. And then we've got the lower structure, which is the hypodermis, which has the adipose tissues within. If we look on this side, you can see that the blue line that runs through just beneath the epidermis surface is the vein, and the artery is represented by the red. You can see that it runs along just beneath the epidermis, within the dermis, but it also runs just above the hypodermis. You can see that we've got these sweat glands that make their way up, so the sweat can be released, the oils can be secreted through the skin. And we've also got this hair bulb, which is just showing this particular hair shaft, but if you can imagine, every single hair has this bulb where it grows through. And down at the bottom you can see this layer that looks very fatty, this adipose tissue layer. The epidermis is the outer layer that you can see, that you can feel, and it protects the body from damage and regulates the body temperature. This is very much helped by the hair that is on the skin, and also the fatty layer that can grow that helps insulate our body. The dermis, this second layer, is the layer under the epidermis. It contains the nerve endings, the blood vessels, the oil glands and the sweat glands. And then here we've got the hair, where you can see the follicle. So the hair grows from the follicle found in the dermis. Even before it touches an object, even before an object touches the skin, the hair makes it possible to feel that skin. That's almost like a signal that happens before the object touch. So we've got a small amount of time to move our body part away because of that sensory hair that is there. The hair bulb forms the base of the hair follicle, and in the hair bulb here is where the cells divide to build and grow the hair. The sweat glands make sweat. Its main function is to control the body temperature. So sweaty is mainly made up of water, but it also contains some salts and is very important to cooling us down. The vein, represented by this blue line, is the blood vessel that returns blood from the skin to the heart. It works together with the other blood vessels to keep the blood moving. The artery is the blood vessel that carries blood from the heart and is represented by the red tube that runs along. And this is the blood line that carries the oxygen and the nutrients. The final hypodermis layer is the deepest layer of the skin, and it connects to the dermis layer to the muscles and the bones. It contains the layer of the adipose tissue. The adipose tissue is also known as the body fat. It acts as a layer of insulation and protects the internal organs and muscles. So the growth cycle, let's start with stage 1. So the cell production, the new skin, keratinocytes, are produced in the deepest layer of the epidermis down here. These cells contain keratin, a protein that provides structure and strength to the skin. Stage 2 is when the cells migrate up. So the newly formed cells slowly migrate upwards towards the layers of the epidermis up here. As they move, they flatten and accumulate more keratin, becoming tougher and tougher. When the cells reach the outermost layers, the stratum corneum, they are dead, fully keratinized and ready to shed. These dead skin cells are sloughed off to make room for newer cells beneath. So as those skins are shed, more cells are moving up to the surface of the skin. This entire cycle from cell production to shedding takes approximately 28 days, but this may vary with age and health. So skin repair. The immediate response is that the body responds to an injury by forming a blood clot to stop the bleeding. Platelets in the blood release signals to begin the repair. Inflammation begins, which is also known as the defensive stage. So white blood cells, especially macrophages, are sent to the injury site to fight off infection. This area becomes red, swollen, warm, and might become a little bit itchy as part of the inflammatory response. Proliferation is the next stage, where new tissue is formed. New tissue begins to form as fibroblasts produce collagen, the protein structure that provides structure to the skin. The new blood vessels grow, which is called angiogenesis, and epithelial cells start covering the wound. The maturation stage is also known as remodeling, and the newly formed tissue strengthens as collagen fibers are rearranged. The wound contracts, reducing in size, but it may still leave behind a scar. This phase can last for several months or longer, depending on the severity of the injury. So hair. Hair grows from the follicles in the skin and plays roles in protection, sensory input, and temperature regulation. Let's have a little look at hair. So the hair follicle is a tunnel-shaped structure in the epidermis. Hair begins growing in the follicle and extends to the skin surface up here. The hair shaft and the hair bulb. The visible part of the hair that is above the skin surface is known as the hair shaft. The hair bulb, located at the base of the follicle, is where the new hair cells are produced. So let's look at the growth cycle of the hair. Stage 1 is the anagen, the growth phase, the active phase of hair growth. The cells in the hair bulb are rapidly dividing, producing new hair, and hair grows approximately 1 cm per month during this phase. This phase can last from 2 to 7 years, depending on genetics. Stage 2 is the catagen, or the transition phase. This brief transitional phase that lasts about 2 to 3 weeks, the hair growth slows and the hair follicle shrinks. The hair detaches from the blood supply down here, but remains in the follicle. And then when the hair is no longer growing, this is known as the telogen, or the resting phase. The hair doesn't grow anymore, and it remains dormant for about 3 to 4 months. After this telogen resting phase, the hair sheds, so it leaves the follicle, and the follicle re-enters this anagen phase to begin new growth. Understanding the hair growth cycle is important in recognising conditions like hair thinning and loss, which can occur if the cycle is disrupted. So nails protect the tips of our fingers and toes, and like hair, they're made of keratin. So this is the nail plate. The nail plate is the hard, visible part of the nail, composed of tightly packed keratin cells that provides protection and aids in precise movement. The matrix is the tissue just under the nail over here, where the new nail cells are produced. It controls the growth and the thickness of the nail. The cuticle is the nail just here. It's the layer of skin at the base of the nail plate that protects the nail plate, that protects the new cells from infection as they grow. It seals the area between the skin here and the nail here. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed. And the next video will be about the pathology of the skin, hair and nail.